A very good morning, team. Fabio here. The dollar remains weak with Trump dialing back on foreign policy aggression and a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Structurally, furthermore, the dollar faces pressure from political dysfunction and a growing rate cut expectation after dovish Fed comments. So it is now expected that the Fed will start cutting interest rates in July, meaning that it is likely that the dollar becomes less interesting for investors, for big institutions and for traders. And furthermore, it is also announced, or it is very likely, that Trump will be announcing the new head of the Fed, who is going to be one of the most dovish, so therefore bearish for the dollar Feds that the Federal Reserve has ever seen. Now, add to the worsening of that, net international investment positions and global capital has started to rotate into China and Europe, but much more on that will be dropped in an update inside Discord. Now, guys, the fractal indicator is live. Yesterday, I forgot to put the link in the description of the video, but today, if you want access to this indicator, make sure to check out the comment section or the description of today's video. Now, without further ado, EURUSD has continued to rally in towards the highs, and we have reached that weekly target, which I highlighted in yesterday's video. Now, you guys know for EURUSD, I have two main targets here, with the first one now being met. These are little bumps in the road down, and as we can see, this is the first kind of like high, or this is the major liquidity high of this bump in the road here, and this is also a major liquidity high in this mini bump in the road over here. Now you can see that often we will react to these bumps in the road. It happened previously with us reacting to this one over here. It happened previously with us, for example, reacting to this one over here. So these bumps in the road often provide us with the opportunity to see a pullback on EURUSD. Now, despite that, obviously, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, we now have a beautiful, beautiful weekly area of demand, which is now in control, with the current fractal low on the weekly time frame being positioned over here and the current fractal high over here. So let's see how we close out in the next 1 day and 11 hours. But overall, we now have a beautiful weekly area of demand. So furthermore, let's see the daily, because the daily time frame here is again very, very bullish. As we can see, guys, we've seen beautiful breaks of structure in towards the high, with the newest swing break of structure happening over here in towards the upside. Now, at this point in time, we haven't really seen any substantial daily pullbacks happen. We are still only just impulsing and impulsing and impulsing. So after this break of structure, obviously you would expect a pullback, but as long as the daily fractal structure remains bullish in between the current fractal low and the current fractal high, the only thing that you can pretty much look for are potential further long positions. Now, yesterday we discussed that we were looking for potential long opportunities if we were to see a deeper pullback. Myself, I was mainly interested in looking for a potential long here on EURUSD from this area of demand. However, as I also mentioned, this is obviously kind of like the ideal area of demand, because if you draw in a Fibonacci retracement tool, this is obviously going to be your 618786 Fib retracement. Now, as we know, when the market's impulsive, you don't need to retrace that deep. And I was only going to be looking for potential pullback if we broke the current fractal low, but you can pretty much see that the market never broke that fractal low and continued pushing up higher. So yesterday, longs were pretty much the only opportunity to take. If you look here at the 1 hour time frame, you can also see that there was, let's say, a internal fractal break. So this fractal high here broke pretty much this fractal low over here, and then after that moment, this then becomes your demand zone from where you pretty much want to be looking for longs from. However, we never really got that retracement in towards it, with the market being so extremely impulsive. And furthermore, in the Asian session last night, we just continued to push up higher, and eventually taking out that major high, after which there was kind of like this liquidation wick. Now, what I'm looking for on EURUSD is, for just simply said, the overall continuation. As we can see, we keep respecting the overall fractal structure. So here again, yesterday we respected this overall demand zone, and now at this point in time here on the 1 hour time frame, this is now the overall demand zone. So as long as the current fractal high is respected, just keep looking for longs, because the overall structure, the overall bullish structure is bullish on the daily, bullish on the 1 hour, bullish on the 4 hour. So shorts do not make sense. Obviously, we've now tapped into, let's say, that major liquidity point, which I was talking about on the daily time frame over here, but there is no real kind of like substance to looking for shorts yet. So I'll just continue looking for longs as long as the overall order flow holds. So let's see what happens. Obviously, if we do see a retracement down lower, then just look for new longs within the 4-hour demand zone and look to continue the overall trend in towards the upside. If we break this current fractal low here, that could mean that it could be somewhat of a deeper pullback into, for example, the lower demand zones. But for now, with the bullish market structure, just keep looking for those longs. But do keep in mind that we are now at kind of like a major area of liquidity on the weekly and the daily. But as long as there's no, let's say, bearish confirmation, there's nothing really there, because liquidity can be anywhere within the market, but we want to confirm the liquidity points using a change of character. But as long as there's no bearish change of character, the market remains bullish and you should only be looking for longs. So I'll just continuously be looking for longs, and now I'm waiting for kind of like the reaccumulation phase to happen before getting in again. So you want to again look for kind of like an area of consolidation like we have over here, and then you want that pretty much just to happen over here again before looking for another new long position. Going into the dollar index has obviously taken out those lows which I talked about, these ascending lows which I wanted to see get taken out yesterday. Obviously the ideal short would have happened from that supply zone, and that's kind of like the moment that I was also looking to get into those EURUSD buys, but we didn't retrace that deep. And after the low break over here on the 4-hour fractal structure, that is the moment then you have kind of like the confirmation that we're just ready to continue down lower. Looking here at the daily time frame, not a lot to say besides the fact that this is kind of like your overall buy before the sell. So just follow the overall buy before the sell now, which is your overall order flow further in towards the downside again. There's nothing really here to say, okay, we're going to be bullish. No, again, like I said yesterday, the only bullish thing on the dollar was the support zone, which we've now also broken. So now what we need to look at is where will the dollar kind of like push towards. And the major low that I have for the dollar at the moment is 94.629. That is kind of like what I'm looking at to reach in the near future. With eventually kind of like the major low being 89.209. But for now, let's just focus on this low over here. There's no demand for the rest, really, to be honest, that I'm actually very interested in. So I'm only focusing on this major liquidity low over here. That is kind of like the only area that I really see the potential for a full-blown dollar reversal to occur again. Even this imbalance candle over here has already been tapped in the past. So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I have for the dollar index. So let's see how this week closes off, and if it again closes bearish, we'll just be looking for further shorting opportunities on the dollar if we retrace into the overall order flow. Going into AUD/USD, we can see that AU has pushed up higher. This kind of like coincides as well with what I mentioned yesterday. I was waiting for price to reprice itself, look for a pullback into demand and go long again. But as I mentioned as well, when the market is this bullish, it can just consolidate sideways and then already pop off. Now, a way to understand that the market was ready to do that is looking at the 1 hour, because here on the 1 hour, what you can clearly see is that this is kind of like your consolidation box, and that we come underneath the consolidation box with kind of like the fake out. So indeed, like I mentioned, you can watch back yesterday's video. I mentioned look for consolidation, fake out, and the reversal. So here on the 1 hour fractal, the reversal came, and that's pretty much then where you can go long in towards the upside. This took place yesterday at around 7 p.m. Central Eastern Time, and then into the Asian session, we just keep pushing up higher. Now for AUD/USD, we've now formed pretty much a new order block here based on fractal structure. So if the market reprices itself, I'll be looking for new long opportunities within that 4-hour demand zone for AU. So that's what I pretty much have. It's bullish, doesn't look like it wants to stop at these current levels, and pretty much just that. So let's look for those further longs on AU. Risk on pairs are doing and performing very, very well, and I'll drop some updates on risk on pairs inside Discord. Again, link in the description of this video. GBPUSD has been also pushing extremely hard in towards the upside, following the overall order flow and obviously market structure. Now we know that we have the swing structure break here. This was the overall swing structure, and the market then repriced itself by retracing in towards the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level, and then after providing us with the 4-hour fractal break on that 50% level, that was the first one. And then again, you kind of have this demand zone, but the market is then so impulsive that it never retraces. Yesterday, again, I was interested in seeing the market reprice itself into my area of interest. So for you guys understanding, what I've been looking at here is, let's say, what we wanted to look at, let me put it that way, is that this here are the equal lows of liquidity. So based on the daily time frame, this is like your overall swing structure, or was the overall swing structure. Now the market retraced into the 0.5 fib, took out the equal lows over here, and then from that point onwards, and I'm not sure why my camera is not working, guys, but I'll just turn it off. From that point onwards, we're then interested in looking for a further buy on GU in towards the highs. Now, the overall reversal pattern is then confirmed with the 4-hour fractal structure shift over here. Again, it happened multiple times here. You already had the first one, like the first double break in towards the upside. But then the market came back to stop hunt, and then again, it reverses in towards the upside. I had this as my 4-hour demand zone, but it never retraced in towards it. And then again, very similar to AUD/USD, what you see is the manipulation happening, very, very clear. And again, I mentioned this in yesterday's video, where you look for consolidation, fake out, boom, pop off, or you want to look for the market to reprice itself in towards areas of demand. Now, if the market doesn't reprice itself in towards those areas of demand, you need to understand that the market at times will be so bullish that it will just pop up higher. Now, the way to understand that it will pop up higher is if you see that V-shaped reversal after the liquidation event underneath the range, because the overall range here was like this, and then what you see happening here is that we come exactly with this low. Underneath this low, we liquidate, and then boom, V-shaped reversal, double fractal break, and that's then pretty much the moment that you want to get into buying opportunities on GBPUSD with your stop loss underneath that liquidation low. And then you can see how easy it is to get into like a 1 to 2 risk to reward. So for now, obviously, you're kind of at the end of an impulse again, so you don't want to be buying at these levels. No, what you want to be doing, you want to be waiting for the reaccumulation before looking at any potential further buying opportunities. So based on the daily time frame, again, we now have a new break of structure in towards the highs, but this is, let's say, your overall sell for the buy. Refine it, and this is kind of like your demand zone. So I'll just be focusing mainly on the market repricing itself, and then I'll be looking for, again, further continuation buys. Going into NZD/USD, we can see that NZD/USD itself is very similar to AUD/USD. I'll also just be looking for further continuation in towards this dotted line over here. Overall bullish momentum, bullish daily fractal, bullish 4-hour fractal. So I'll just be looking for the continuation. NZD/USD was a little bit uglier than AUD/USD and GBPUSD, not as clear with the consolidation and the liquidation. But overall, yeah, it has been following the market structure up higher. So again, for this, you just want to be looking to follow the overall trend in towards the upside and the overall momentum. USD CHF, we can see that it popped down lower again. What can I say? Overall, was looking to maybe see somewhat of a rebound up higher again after liquidating this massive low underneath these equal lows. Again, it's the risky trade, right? Because the overall momentum is in towards the downside. So you don't always want to be counter trend trading. There could have been an opportunity to look for the longs, but overall the momentum and the overall vibe for the sell here and the order flow just keeps pushing the market down lower. So first of all, you have the daily fractal break, or the daily bearish fractal, and then the 4-hour was also still bearish fractal. The market retraced in towards this kind of like mini demand zone here, or supply zone here, and then on the 1-hour time frame, the market just continues pushing down lower. I was looking to see, so yeah, I mean, overall, again, just this supply zone, and then 50-minute time frame, what can we see over there? Was bullish, but then again, what happens? The market repriced itself. So if you're then looking for longs, this is kind of like the low liquidation. So then you could look for another push in towards the highs, but obviously you're coming from supply. But let's say you're looking to take out those descending highs, you liquidate this low, then what you need the bullish confirmation structural shift to look for longs. Did it come? No, it didn't come. So then there's just simply said no long opportunities for USD Swiss to trade the pullback, and the overall momentum in towards the downside is then just too strong. So then it just continues pushing down lower in towards the downside. There's nothing really stopping it at this point in time. So just let this thing kind of like rip down lower. And if you want to get in on the overall momentum down, just keep in mind you're kind of like at the end of a potential impulse. Like the overall drop has already happened, so you're a little bit late to the party if you're trying to still get into short positions. So just let this go and wait for it to reprice itself before getting into more shorts. USD JPY, also looking at some additional shorting opportunities. Based on the weekly time frame, we are fractal bearish, and we have equal lows. So what I'm looking at here is these equal lows over here. And then the weekly bearish fractal structure is from this high to this low. The market has already repriced itself into premium. and I'm looking for this just to continue down lower. Looking at the daily time frame, it's just a little bit messy, but we have a lot of ascending lows again, so we'll be again interested in those shorts. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, again, this is kind of like the last low that you kind of like want to be seeing taken out of all of these ascending lows. Now, for now, we've had a double fractal break in towards the downside, with the overall order flow being this supply zone and then this supply zone. So if the market retraces in towards this supply zone over here, look for the lower time frame confirmation and then look to go shorts again is what I'll be doing. And then we have, of course, gold. Gold did a beautiful, beautiful thing yesterday with pushing up higher. Now, on gold, there are kind of like two areas that I've been looking at, and that was on the 1-hour time frame. So on the 1-hour time frame, I was looking at the fact that we took out these ascending lows here, and obviously with the daily fractal being bullish here on this chart, with this being your low over here, this being your high, you're at all the way inside discount, so you're looking for longs to push the market up higher. Go into the 4-hour time frame, and then you can see that the market is still fractal bearish. So that was the only reason why I was kind of a little bit hesitant with looking for any potential longs. But the 1-hour was very, very clean, because again, we're all the way at a discount on the swing structure. So let's say that this here is your swing, right? You're all the way in discount. So pretty much the no-brainer buy here is to just get in on the buy and then place your stop loss somewhere underneath the lows to target the kind of like the new higher high. Like the only reason why you have that wider stop loss is because if it liquidates this low, you're still going to be in. Then looking at the 1-hour time frame, and I shared this as well inside Discord, what you're looking at here is the 1-hour fractal structure shift. So you get the push down, pull back, push down, pull back, push down, push up. Then you form here the ascending lows. We take out the kind of like the last ascending low over here, and then we see a V-shaped reversal, meaning buyers come into the market, fractal break here, and then you have the demand zone. And then, as I mentioned yesterday, push up higher. So yeah, it's up quite some pips. So there was a nice opportunity for you guys to go long. And for now, the order flow is still holding. So let's see what the market does. Obviously, we kind of have some supply over here, which the market has now reacted to. But as long as the fractal structure remains bullish, this should keep pushing up higher. But do just keep in mind that if the 1-hour fractal shifts double, then we could maybe see another push down. But for now, I'm mainly favoring just that continuation here on gold up higher, following the 1-hour demand zones. So yeah, try and get in on those 1-hour demand zones. Maybe sometimes look for a liquidation of a fractal low, and then boom, like another fractal break up. Those are really the best buys when you see those kind of like liquidation events happen. Like over here, you see the liquidation, V-shaped reversal, and then you have a beautiful demand zone from where you can go long in towards the upside. So those are kind of like the best opportunities to always get in. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and appreciate you. Have a great day. Speak soon.